48 hours, no calories, nothing but black coffee and water. And you'll be pleasantly surprised at how great it feels. I've done it a couple of times, and the only thing I'd change really is that I should have done it more often. It's hard, don't get me wrong, it's pretty challenging. There's nothing like easy about starving yourself for upwards of 24 hours, but it is really beneficial and it feels great. It really does. So the concept of a proper fast, might be completely new to you, might not be. But I'll tell you what happened to me, my body, my mind, and my energy levels when I took on the challenge. And I'll tell you why I chose to do it too. It's not for some bullshit social media trend or so I can, flex about it on YouTube like I'm doing right now. But yeah, trust me here. First off, we'll start with the rules. So you can't consume any calories for the entire length of time, be it 24, 48, or if you're feeling really brave, 72 hours. Just water, black coffee, decaf if it's late, or just plain tea. But I'd be careful enough with what kind of tea you drink because obviously they can contain calories. This also means no chewing gum as well, which is a mistake that I made on my first run. Although to be fair, the amount of calories that you're getting from chewing gum are so low, it's as challenging with the gum as it was without it. And if you suffer from a crippling nicotine addiction like I used to, you can have that at least while you're doing the fast. So the thing here is the main things is you can't have milk or cream if you're one of those weirdos that drinks that with your coffee. There's just no calories whatsoever are allowed. And before you go and starve yourself, I'm not a doctor or any sort of fucking medically knowledged human being, so take my advice here with a bit of a pinch of salt. I'm not some fucking medical legend, so I won't be able to help you turn into a gym bro overnight. But I have found that the psychological benefits here are actually greater than the physical, mainly because you notice the psychological ones. You're not going to notice the physical ones that your body is going through while you are fasting. So I suppose starting off with the actual experience of fasting, the physical challenge, it is tough. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, the first sort of 8 or so hours are okay, and you'll feel a little bit of hunger, but then when you're starving from like 9 to 12 hours, something like that, you just feel so hungry. But then after a bit, it'll ease off a little bit. When you go to sleep, you'll wake up the following morning, and you'll be okay. The hunger might be at you a little bit. And at some stage during the day, you're going to feel so hungry. But it goes pretty quickly. Like before you know it, you're going to be past 30 hours, and it gets a bit easier from there. So, and as well, it's also worth mentioning that at some stage you'll get a burst of energy and you'll feel completely okay. But then as the hours go on, all you want to do is eat. All you can think about is food. It's a race against the clock. And that obviously goes hand in hand with the mental side, because when you're hungry, you're constantly thinking about food and how great it would taste. Like, I mean, you can think of the greasiest junk food, pizza or any sort of meal, and the thought of it, you'd be drooling like a dog, man. It just, the thought of it makes you think it's going to be the best drug you'll ever taste. But you just have to resist the temptation. You got to fight through it, because it isn't easy, and I'm not going to pretend that it is. It's really difficult, but the burst of energy you get while you're craving your food do come, and that will surprise you too, because it defies logic, I guess. At least, common logic. Obviously there's science behind it, but the science itself is another interesting element to it, and I will get into it, but I ain't a doctor, so I'm going to tell you what I found out from doing research. This is not me being a scientist, but it is worth listening to. So the fasting experience physically, it comes in 3 different stages. The first 24 hours, and then you'll have hours 24 to 48, and then 48 to 46, or 46, 48 to 72. Full disclosure, I have not yet completed the full 72. 48 hours is my personal best, but I am hoping to aim for 60 next time I do a fast. And in the first stage, your body effectively runs out of its stored carbohydrate energy. So what this means for you is that to avoid crumbling up and withering away, your body then tackles the stored glucose that's in your liver and muscles, and then your insulin drops, and this is when you start burning through fat, which is obviously a good thing. Though starving yourself isn't exactly going to turn you into a gym bro. I'm sorry, fasting alone isn't going to work there. So don't try it, but for that purpose. But this is also in the stage where you're going to get great growth hormone secretion, and that increases by around 4.5 times, 5 times, which basically what this means, because I had no fucking clue either, is that your body releases the growth hormones so that it knows to eat the fat and not your muscles. Obviously, so for at least 24 hours, the gym bro dream survives. And then when you get into the next phase from hours 24 to 48 is when your body kind of transitions to fully using fat as its main energy source. And this is when ketosis begins and autophagy ramps up. So ketosis is effectively where your fat is turned to energy, and autophagy is when your body breaks down the dead cells, damaged DNA, any clumped proteins, and it recycles them to create new and healthier ones. And this is key, not only because it's just good for your body to do this, but also because it prevents the buildup of these useless things, and it makes it easier for your immune system to detect and destroy precancerous cells, which does reduce your risk of getting cancer, because obviously these cells will go under the radar when your body is busy, but when it's in full-on recycling mode, it's going to take out anything that it doesn't need, and that includes precancerous cells. So then in the final 24-hour phase, that's when your autophagy is at its highest. It's when your body is in full survival repair mode, and it breaks down its old cells, especially white blood cells, anything that isn't contributing to your survival at that point, because obviously you need all the energy you can get. And then it uses what's left over to regenerate healthy cells when you do eat again, and all of that puts you in a healthier position bodily when you do have that next meal. So obviously a lot of these things, like you're not going to notice that while you're starving to death, but the mental benefits that you'll feel from it, and I'll explain here now what the mental benefits I noticed were. So basically you get bursts of energy. There are parts of it obviously when you feel great and the hunger isn't really at you at all, but I being brutally honest, for most of it it's fucking hard. You're just really hungry. There are parts when you're just dying for food. You feel slow, you feel tired, because your body is struggling to get by. But all in all, after you successfully complete the fast, you're going to feel great. I'm sure some of that is obviously down to autophagy and ketosis and what that brings to your body and how that affects how you feel mentally. But if you focus solely on the mental element, like the biggest benefit for me came in just having the discipline to complete such a daunting task, and then getting that dopamine hit afterwards when you know you've completed an incredibly difficult fast. It just gives you kind of a bit of an invincibility feeling, and that's massive. If you're struggling with addiction of any sort, which I was, particularly with nicotine, because that was my situation, like snussing was just the way to go. But it does make you feel much better about the idea of quitting if you can do the fast. Like if you can quit food for 48 hours, or really if you want to push it 72 hours, like you'll know then that quitting nicotine is not that hard, because you've done something harder. Like once you push through the early stages of like nicotine craving, you've the hardest part done, because obviously these two are very different. Like food is a necessity, nicotine is kind of a habit drug that you develop and depend on, but it's similar too in how you feel about food mentally. So that once the nicotine is out of your system, if you've quit for 48 hours, 72 hours, like you've the hardest part done. It really is. That is the worst of it, because after that the craving is only psychological. not physical. And fasting does require you to beat both the physical and psychological cravings. You know, you've got the physical need for food and energy and surviving, and then the psychological hunger feeling that you get, so that you know, so your body is way of telling you that you need to get the food for energy. So it is a tough challenge, but it is really, really rewarding. And if it's something, you know, even less significant than a nicotine addiction, like an addiction to your phone or social media, I mean, that's much easier to quit for 72 hours than a 72-hour fast of food. So if you can do it, you will really feel like you can do anything. And the thought of quitting social media or significantly cutting it down is nothing. So the ultimate takeaway really is, obviously you've got mental and physical benefits, and they roll into a few days of pain. That's all it is. Because it's not the worst thing you'll go through in life, and it's the benefits of it are just they're huge. You will feel them straight away. Try it, honestly, because you'll be surprised at how great that feels. And it might even just inspire you to overcome that one thing that keeps holding you back, that one addiction, whatever it may be.